Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something really cool, the principles of immersive design. This is all about the art of creating experiences so powerful, so convincing, that they feel, well, more real than reality itself. We're going to break down the core ideas designers use to completely capture our attention and show you why this is one of the biggest shifts happening in technology right now.
You know that feeling, right? When you're so deep into a video game, or a great movie, or even just an amazing book that the real world around you just kind of melts away. Your room vanishes, hours fly by, and for a little while that fictional world is your reality. Well, that feeling, that's not an accident. That is powerful, intentional design, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we'll put a name to that lost-in-the-moment feeling. Then we'll get into the secret ingredients, the 3 pillars of immersive design. We'll look at how designers use these to build entire worlds from scratch. And finally, we'll talk about why this is becoming a game changer far beyond just entertainment.
So, let's start there. What exactly is that feeling of being completely absorbed? It's not magic, it's actually a very specific state of mind, and it's engineered.
The official name for it is immersion. It's this state of such deep mental involvement that your brain gets so focused, it literally starts to ignore everything else. The room you're in, the sounds outside, it's all achieved through very specific design choices meant to grab your attention and just not let go.
But what really makes an experience immersive? Because, it's a whole lot more than just watching something on a screen.
Okay, so here's the formal definition. It's a simulated environment that pulls in our senses and our perceptions so deeply that it creates a feeling of presence. And that word right there, presence, is the key. It's the psychological gut feeling that you are actually there. For any immersive designer, achieving that feeling of presence is the ultimate goal.
And this table really breaks down the crucial difference. Think about traditional media, movies, books. You're a passive observer. You're on the outside looking in. But in an immersive experience, you become an active participant. You're not just watching a story, you are in the story, making choices that can actually change things. That single shift from observer to participant is everything.
So, the big question is, how do designers actually do this? How do they engineer that feeling and pull you from the sidelines into the main event? Well, it all rests on 3 foundational pillars.
These are the building blocks, the absolute core of any great immersive experience: presence, agency, and world building. If a designer nails these 3, they can create something truly unforgettable. So let's break them down, one by one.
First up, presence. This is basically the art of tricking your brain, in the best possible way, by feeding your senses, your eyes, your ears, with such convincing, consistent detail, your mind just accepts it. It stops seeing a simulation and starts feeling a location. Think about the sound of wind whistling past your head in a VR game. That's not just a background noise. It's a detail designed to scream, "You are here."
Next, we have agency. This is where you come in. Agency is the power to act within that world and to see that your actions have real consequences. When the choices you make can genuinely change what happens next, the narrative stops being something you just watch. It becomes your story. It becomes personal.
And finally, there's world building. This is the stage where everything else plays out. A well-built world has its own set of rules, its own history, its own internal logic. It feels consistent and believable. This is the context that makes your presence and your agency feel meaningful.
Okay, so we've got our 3 pillars: presence, agency, and world building. Now let's look at some of the actual techniques that designers use to weave all of these together into something that feels real. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The best immersive design is completely invisible. You don't feel like you're in a game or a program. You feel like you've just stumbled into a place that has always existed, and you're just discovering it.
So how do they pull that off? Well, it's a combination of things. A consistent visual style, so the world feels cohesive. It's responsive sound design, where your footsteps sound different on stone than they do on wood. It's environmental storytelling, where a ruined castle or an old journal tells a story without a single line of dialogue. All these little details work together to make the world feel alive. Now, this is all fascinating from a creative standpoint, but the reason this stuff matters so much right now is that these same principles are being used in fields way outside of entertainment, and they're having a massive real-world impact.
Just look at this breakdown. Sure, entertainment is a huge slice of the pie, but it's not even half. Almost a quarter of the market is in training and simulation for really serious jobs like pilots and surgeons. And you see huge growth in healthcare, retail. This technology is not just for gamers anymore. It's becoming essential.
And if you want to put a dollar figure on it, try this on for size. The immersive tech market is projected to be worth over $50 billion by 2028. This isn't just some passing trend, it's a fundamental economic and cultural shift in how we interact with information and with each other.
And you're going to start seeing this pop up everywhere. Imagine surgeons practicing a complex procedure in a totally risk-free virtual environment. Or students getting to explore ancient Rome firsthand, not just read about it. Architects walking their clients through a building before a single brick is even laid. The applications are truly transformative. So if you take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. True immersion is not about having the fanciest new headset or the fastest computer. It has always been, and it will always be, about understanding human psychology. It's about using smart design to create that feeling of presence, to give you meaningful agency, all within a believable world.
Which leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending question to think about. As designers get better and better at crafting these perfectly immersive worlds, what happens to our very definition of reality? It's a huge question and one we'll all be grappling with very soon. Thanks for joining us.